Hello and welcome to Between Two Banjos, the Swallow Hill Music Videocast. This is our first episode, so thank you for watching. I'm with Dustin Perricone, who wears many hats at Swallow Hill Music, archivist, box office manager, talent buyer,
Hospitality manager.
Mm-hmm. All right, 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
That's good. That's good.
And I'm Barry Osborne. I work in the marketing department here, and we are excited to give this a shot. Earlier this summer, Dustin said, hey, what if we did a Swallow Hill TV show? And at that point, we usually crack a few jokes about it, talk about how great it would be, and then never talk about it again.
Megan's up clapping at some point. I don't know. Yeah,
That's right.
Typical meeting.
And then something funny happened. We kept talking about it. We started sketching things out. We did a demo that will never see the light of day.
No. Oh, no.
And here we are. So we are excited to talk about music and let you know what's happening here at Swallow Hill and musically in and around Denver.
Just two music fans geeking out.
Between two banjos. Okay, so our first topic of discussion is what Swallow Hill music show that is coming up are you most excited about? And I'll let you go first, Dustin.
Well, I'm a tad biased, Barry. I put together the Sam Amidon show, and so I'm very excited about it. I mean, it's going to be great. I think his last couple albums were really great. The traditional songs done with jazz players like Bill Frisell, just very interesting takes on traditional music. The new album is Originals, his first one of Originals, and I just think it's great. It's very interesting music. It's a little out there, but it's awesome. Yeah,
should be at home in Daniels Hall here at Swallow Hill.
Yeah, he's going to be great. I love his banjo playing. His fiddle playing is great. His guitar playing is great. His fiddle playing is definitely it's a little more droney and avant-garde. It's awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I think the show is going to live up to the album. He'll be here with 2 other players. It'll be a trio with Patrick Detlef's opening, who's a great local songwriter and buddy of mine, known him for a long time, and it's always great to see him play. So it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well. I'm really looking forward to Paul Kelly. He's also going to be in Daniels Hall on October 13th. And what's cool about Paul Kelly is he's 4 decades into his recording career. He's a bit of a songwriting legend in Australia. He never really broke big here in the States, but his latest album, which is called Life is Fine, just went #1 on the Australian record charts. It's his first #1 album, so his career has just been gaining momentum, and it's really exciting to think of a songwriter of that caliber that can stack up against anybody, being here in Denver in Daniels Hall here at Swallow Hill. I've been listening to an album of his called the A to Z recordings, which are 100 songs from throughout his career that he's been performing live in a show. He does this 4-night show where he does 25 songs each night.
Wow.
And they're alphabetical.
Okay.
And it works. It's when you
incredible.
think about that, yeah. And
wow.
And he tells his life story and his kind of songwriting philosophy through that.
And isn't he been described as the Australian Springsteen? He's kind of the everyman songwriter.
Exactly. Gets compared to Ray Davies of the Kinks. Maybe does for Australia what Ray Davies has done for London. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. And we're hearing a lot of excitement from the Australian expat community here in Denver and Colorado. So it should be a fun night.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yep. So as we mentioned, Dustin has a lot of hats here at Swallow Hill Music, and one of those is he is our archivist. And so a lot of the vintage posters you see on the walls here at Swallow Hill Music, he's been curating. He also curates some of our audio files, and we wanted to ask Dustin what's a cool item from the archives that he recently came across.
Well, Barry, I'm glad you asked. I came across a Leon Redbone recording from, I think, 2009, maybe 2010. And it's awesome. He's one of those guys who his whole thing is like an air of mystery. No one knows his real name, even though people kind of think they do. But it's like, well, if you try to find it, you can kind of find it. But whatever. But he kind of does the, a lot of the rags and the like really great finger picking, kind of vaudeville type things. The glasses, the mustache, the hat. This whole air of mystery, kind of the deeper voice. And he started recording in the 70s, I believe, and just retired a couple years ago, actually. And I can kind of see why from listening to that show. It was pretty rough. I mean, his playing was still good, but the vocals were gruff. But it was very cool. It sounds like it could fall apart at any time, but he keeps it going, all the way through. And either they just did or they're going to. Third Man Records is going to be reissuing his first album.
Jack White's label.
Yes, Jack White's label. Yep. And then they're going to be reissuing his first one, and then another series of I'm not sure if it's kind of like a best of compilation, but like a compilation of some sort.
Okay.
So, he's getting a little revitalization there. People are kind of
nice.
Yeah. He's pretty awesome though, and the show is pretty cool. And there are some stories from some of the people who were working at the time about a pickle and a shot of whiskey and a lamp. Like they had to find a lamp for him for the stage. Kind of just, he stayed in character the whole time. It's a pretty interesting stories. But yeah, so that's one of the coolest shows I've found in a while.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I wanted to mention something, not from the archives, but something current that I saw in the news recently that I thought was interesting. And it was a New York Times piece on women in underground rock. Mm-hmm. And it was a really cool article that they called "Women Are Making the Best Rock Music Today." And it launched in early September. It's an interactive piece, so it includes interviews, video, and audio clips, links to the performers' web pages, and a Spotify playlist of the artists. And they described it as just beneath the mainstream, dozens of female bands are making some of the most acclaimed, urgent, politically relevant music around. And what I liked about it, not just being introduced to new bands that I hadn't heard, but they interviewed the artists, and it was in an informal kind of discussion way. So they were bringing up things, the challenges they face in a traditionally male-dominated industry. It was very enlightening for me, and it also maybe didn't have that kind of what I always thought kind of condescending feel when Rolling Stone is like women in rock issue, which is
I hate that.
Yeah,
it's driving me nuts. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just rock. Just let it be the music.
Exactly.
To have to delineate it and divide it up. Like,
exactly.
It's good music. It's good music.
And this had none of that. And what I liked too was, even though it was digital, the presentation and kind of unfolded like an old photocopied zine, just kind of done in a digital way, but it had that spirit.
Like the old school underground.
Exactly.
Just printed at a Kinko's or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, and so it was cool to see something like the New York Times use their resources to do that. And some of the bands that I learned about that I'm still checking out that I really liked. They're called Snail Mail, this woman named Lisa Prank, and Diet Sig. And then another band called Sheer Mag, I noticed, is going to be playing the Larimer Lounge here in Denver on October 7th. I think it's a 16 and up show. So,
cool.
So that was cool. And to find the article, what I did, you can just Google New York Times Women in Rock, and it should be one of the first top items that comes across. So,
nice. That sounds really cool. I'm going to check that out. Yeah, because it's just so funny. I've never, so many musicians that are my favorites are women, like Joanna Newsom, Joni Mitchell, and I've never thought oh, this is a woman. Or so, it's just I've heard the music and loved it. It didn't matter, So
right.
it is still sad that they have to fight for ground,
Exactly.
I just saw a video the other day, too, that it was one of those ones where you click on it and you're like, 7 minutes. But it grabbed me, and I actually watched the whole thing. But it's about this band called Ace of Cups.
Okay.
And they were the only all-female rock band in the Haight in 1967. And I'd seen their name, one of my favorite posters for the band at Winterland. It's an outline of the band, and then it's Sons of Champlin, I think, and then Ace of Cups. And I even remember seeing it at a venue on the wall and thinking, oh man, just some long lost band to the ages, you know.
Mm-hmm.
These women, they never got a record deal, you know, it was a total sexist type thing. But all but one original member are back, and they're finally going to record their album.
That's fascinating.
And there's footage of them. I mean, these women are grandmothers; they're in their 70s, you
right.
know, and they're jamming at the end, and it totally rocks. Like, it's not, you know.
It's a great story.
Yeah, it's really cool. The Ace of Cups. Apparently, they do have some albums out there, like live stuff that was recorded around that time. You know, they played with the Dead in the Airplane, but they were like, we never set out to be an all-female band. It's just what happened, you know. And then when we started having babies and stuff like that, you know, the rock guys had the girlfriends and the wives, and we had to stay home with our kids. So we, you know, they never got the record deal that those other bands did, even though they were, you know, really, really solid blues rock band. So yeah, it was a great story, really great.
Nice.
I'm actually kind of going to keep my eye out for that.
Gotta check that out. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now you're in my seat.
But your banjo's better than mine.
Teach their own banjo.
I guess that's a saying.
It is now. Okay. So what are you listening to these days?
Well, as everyone in the office knows, I am quite the deadhead.
It's the first day of the week. This is Wednesday. He's not wearing a Dead.
It's true. No Dead shirt today. Went on that Dead t-shirt buying
That's right.
online. Yeah, it's bad. So the new Bob Weir album came out a little while ago. I just got it on vinyl, and it is just so good. I mean, it's just, for this late in the game, for him to come out, you know, his first solo album of new material in like 25 years or whatever it's been, more than that, I don't know. It's just so good. You know, written with Josh Ritter, and Josh Kaufman was one of the producers, and just the guys from The National.
That's what I remember, yeah.
Devendorf brothers. It's just so good. You know, it's not a jam album at all. It's just like a singer-songwriter album. You know, all the songs are about, you know, it's kind of inspired by his youth when he ran away from home and went to a ranch in Wyoming and played guitar for all the cowboys under the stars and stuff like that. And it's just really great. I mean, there are just some great songs on there. And, you know, it's the Bob Weir and the Campfire Band is what he calls that touring group. Nice. And they played Red Rocks for the Jerry Garcia's 75th birthday show. And I was so excited because I didn't think I'd get a chance to see them because they did a small tour. Okay. And they did come here, and it was different than some of what those shows were because it was the Jerry Garcia things. They did way more Dead stuff, but Bob just sounds great still. Like, he honestly still sounds so good. Like, his voice is still strong. Guitar playing is inventive as ever. Yeah, it's kind of cool that, you know, this late in the game, he's still just, producing quality material, great live shows still. Yeah, you know, just hoping he can keep it going.
It was cool when the album came out. I heard quite a few radio interviews with him, and it's cool to see an artist at that stage in his career get to work with the people he influenced.
Right.
And the people he influenced are far enough along in their careers that they can actually be of some service to him and not just like be the opening band or you know, just you know, bow at his feet, which is also cool too. Everybody has a right to geek. And so it's cool to hear those echoes through the generations.
Yeah, because I mean, I think if you were just listening to The National, I don't know. I don't really hear the Grateful Dead in there personally, but they are all fans and everything. So it's just interesting the way it can all come together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to, I don't even know how I got on this, but so I kind of came of age musically in the late 80s and early 90s when people still used the term college rock, and then it kind of became alternative rock and indie.
R.E.M. and all those bands from the
Pixies and and the word indie was around, but wasn't used the way that it is now.
Right, to term it a genre.
Exactly.
How it was used,
And so by like 1996, I'd been listening to those bands for years, and so I kind of was starting to explore different things, and so there's some albums from like 1995, 96, 97, of bands that I loved that I just never really knew. So I've been listening to Tanya Donnelly's band Belly had this album called King that I had at the time but never really listened to. Teenage Fan Club has one of my favorite records of all time called Songs from Northern Britain, which I remember when it came out but I never bought. There's an REM record called New Adventures in Hi-Fi, and this Lemonheads record called Car Button Cloth, which was based off of when he was a kid. He did an experiment of items that sank in his bathtub.
Right.
And a toy car, a button, and a cloth all sank. But so, and it's interesting because it was kind of at this peak moment for alternative rock as like a commercial thing. Mm-hmm. And they're all really professionally produced. It's that CD era, but the songs are really good, and so it's kind of fun having all these bands that I know really well, but having albums by them in my back pocket.
Nice.
So yeah, just going back to the 90s. So how about, what's an upcoming show you're excited for that's not at Swallow Hill?
I would say there's a couple I'll mention real quick. Fleet Foxes and Beach House at Red Rocks. That new Fleet Foxes record is really great. Didn't go see them on their last tour.
Mm-hmm. It's been a while.
Yes it has, and I regret not going. I saw them at the High Dive with about 20 people opening for a local band back in the day.
Isn't that the best?
Yeah, and it was great. And so I've been a fan for a while, and Red Rocks should be a very interesting venue for that show,
mm-hmm.
I think. But it should be really cool. And then I'm not totally sure how you say his name, but Sean Cootie, one of Kayla Cootie's sons.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
Along with Egypt 80, which was one of his band. I think it's like 3/4 of the band are still together and alive and performing. So it's a bunch of the guys who were there with Kayla when he was actually, creating Afrobeat music, like really inventing it. And they're playing at Cervantes at the end of the night. That should be really cool. Went to a Fela Kuti tribute with the guy from Antibalas a couple months back, and that show was really great. So I'm always in the mood for some awesome Afrobeat music out there.
Fantastic, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stick with my 90s vibe, and Dinosaur Jr. is coming to the Gothic in October, and they played 2 nights at the Bluebird last year, and I didn't go, and I was kind of regretting it, even when I could have done something about it. But and I haven't seen them live in about 10 years, so it's kind of time to check in. They had a new album last year that I played a lot.
Is it good? I didn't listen to it.
I liked it a lot, yeah.
Nice.
I listened to them a bit in the early 90s, but they're a band that I know almost better now. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I feel like if you're not too attached to, like, back in the day, they'll never sound like that. It's maybe a little easier to enjoy what they're doing now.
And they do still sound the same.
Yeah, they do.
And stuff that I listen to, it's like they didn't lose any of the quality.
Exactly.
Sure. It's
So, okay, well, that's it for the first episode of Between Two Banjos.
Thanks for watching.
This is Dustin. I'm Barry. And we're working the kinks out. So what are we going to do now, Dustin?
Yeah, well, since it's our first episode, a little special outro for you. Barry and I are going to play you out. 1, 2, 3. Wait, I thought...
Worried Man Blues, dude.
Oh, it wasn't Deep LM? I thought...
No.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Which key? What key are you in?
I'm in G.
You're in G. Do banjos, can you tune them in G? I thought...
Yeah.
Is that... I don't know if... Alright, ready? 1, 2, 3.